What happens when the chicken crosses the road, but the chicken is Jill Valentine and the road is a road full of fucking... What am I doing? What happens when the chicken crosses the road, but the chicken is Jill Valentine and the road is full of puzzles and infested with zombies? Well, you get Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, a genre-defining survival horror experience that scared the hell out of me as a child and still terrifies me as an adult trying to play this again for this video. So, what makes it so scary? We're gonna look into everything that makes Resident Evil 3 survival horror and really spooky.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 3 traces all the way back to 1999, back when I was like 5 years old or something. I was old enough to understand the difference between reality and video game violence, but I was also still young enough to believe that something could still pop out of the PlayStation and kill me. And that's when I learned about Resident Evil 3, the little disc that seemed to just appear into my life that I really wasn't supposed to be playing, but I still did anyways, and it was very spooky. Fast forward to 2019 and I'm trying to play it again. It's still very scary, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit of a chicken shit. So it's really no surprise that they would bring it back into a remake in 2019 after seeing the overwhelming success of the Resident Evil 2 remake that I still haven't beaten because it's still really spooky, and I put it on the hardest difficulty to start off with, which wasn't really smart, but after playing the original game I realized that that's even harder, so what am I supposed to do here? You start off the game as Jill Valentine, a STARS police officer member of Raccoon City, with your only objective to survive and get yourself the hell out of there at this point, helping anybody you can along the way, even though I think everybody pretty much dies along the way. Your only ally being you, your wits, and your weapons that you can hold on to you at the time. The name of the game is Survival and Inventory Management, to get you along throughout this entire zombie-ridden city full of difficult and tricky puzzles and lots of zombies that want to eat your little fleshy flesh. You eat out your little brainy brains because there's zombies and that's what zombies do. You will soon understand the meaning of survival horror as you start this game, as you're thrown into a city full of zombies with very limited resources. You'll realize that you don't have a lot of ammo to deal with these zombies, and even if you did, you don't really have the movement and skills to be able to maneuver your way around them enough to really make do with just that. So your shooting and your movement kind of aren't really worth a shit one-on-one. You kind of got to learn to cooperate with one of each other to make compromise. What the hell am I saying? This is a terrible video, I'm sorry. Don't alcohol and record reviews, kids. You gotta have a combination of knowing when to use your resources, when to fight, and when to fly. Because your fight or flight's gonna be kicking in a lot, and the control is very tricky, so you're gonna be running a lot, and it's gonna be hard to gauge where, you know what I'm trying to say, dude. What I'm trying to say is you soon learn that your resources are finite. Your save locations are scattered throughout the game, so you gotta pick and choose where you actually decide to save. With your limited save resources that you have, you save off of these ink ribbons off of these typewriters, so you're only able to save a certain amount of time, so you better make them count. Those ink ribbons are also going to take up inventory space, which you're constantly going to be managing and optimizing to give you the resources that you need to get throughout the level, while also maximizing the amount of space that you can have to pick up things that you're going to need to solve the puzzles that you find throughout the game. There's no hand holding here. You have to make every bullet count, every save count, and every movement count, because one wrong decision is going to stay with you the rest of that game. If you have to use up all of your ammo in one room to keep yourself alive, you better hope to God you're not going to need it in the next, because you're not going to have it. You also better hope that you recently saved, because if you don't have what you need to progress and you end up dying, well, you're kind of screwed. My first 30-minute playthrough this again, I died without saving, and I just kind of had to restart all the way over again because I didn't have an ink ribbon. You know how that goes. The game does not hold your hand, it tells you nothing. This game came out at a time where there really wasn't any internet readily available, at least in my household, and even playing that 20 years later, I can tell that that's kind of how they designed the game. You really don't know a whole lot about what you're getting into, and that's part part of the element of surprise. You don't know how many zombies are going to be around that corridor, because when you go into a room that you thought you previously cleared out, it may be full of infected zombies that just kind of appeared there from being recently humans that got devoured or killed, whatever. You know how that goes. One minute you're a human, the next you're a fleshy zombie thing because you died and you got eaten up by some other zombies. You probably know by now one of the most iconic things about this game and what makes it truly terrifying is the nemesis that will stalk you throughout the game. Fun part is that, again, you don't really have any information and you don't really know what to expect. So as you're being built up throughout this entire city of zombies that seem seemingly outnumbering you and impossible to kill, you eventually run into the nemesis, which you quickly realize will absolutely pummel you if you don't run like hell. And even if you do stick around and manage to kill it, it's just gonna come back alive later, so you're really just wasting your resources. So to all those people that are starting out on easy mode and are gonna just try to gun them down with the assault rifle, don't even waste your time because it's just gonna come right back. I forgot just how terrifying the nemesis was. Unlike Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, this one has a lot more going on with him. He is smart, he's intelligent, he can calculate where you are at all times. He can run like lightning fast speeds. He has tentacles to reach out and grab you, and he also has a rocket launcher for some reason. Terrifying is an understatement because I really felt like I was never going to get away from him. There's little touches where you'll run into the police station and he'll be banging on the doors to get in, but then you won't hear anything for a long while. And then one time when you're going down a staircase, you might all of a sudden hear a window break, and oh hell, I hope you're prepared to be chased down and killed. I wasn't prepared. I was actually very scared. The thing that I find most appealing about Resident Evil 3 is the fact that it makes you feel hopeless and very scarce with your resources before you even run into this nemesis character, almost like he doesn't exist, making you feel outnumbered and lonely and terrified before you even get to that boss battle. And when you start to get the feeling of him stalking you throughout the game, that's just adding on to another terrifying layer of horror that you really weren't expecting in the beginning, or at least I wasn't. I'm really excited to see what they do in the remake, and I guess we'll just see how it goes from there, but the original, still terrifying, and if that's anything to go off of, I can't imagine what they're going to do with the remake.
Oh my god, fucking Christ, man. Shit. Jesus. Fuck.